Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger with a video for the month of April. Now normally you'd hear me say from sacredsoulempowerment.com, but we're starting out the month of April with a new moon in Aries. And as of March 20th, the sun went into Aries, which officially started Aries season. But now, again, on April 1st, we're going to start this month with that new moon, which is a time of new beginnings in the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. And it's all about new intentions and planting new seeds. So my website also is one of these new seeds, or I guess maybe it's a replanted seed, because I'm going to be changing the name of my website. It no longer is going to be sacredsoulempowerment.com. It's now going to be colleenlemma.com. And this is part of my planting of a new seed. I also would love to switch the name of these weekly and monthly videos to Empowered Moments. So let's start out with an empowered moment and an empowered intention for this month of April, for your new beginnings. What new beginnings, new intentions, new directions, new possibilities do you want to see for yourself in your life? So let's start by taking a deep breath. And as you exhale, you're releasing all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs. Clearing your mind of all thoughts and just being in this present moment, in this empowered moment, in the here and now. And I want you to focus on a new intention that you have as we are now in Aries season, the sign of new beginnings, the energy of new beginnings. Springtime here in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you close your eyes and you imagine or visualize, shift your attention to what your empowered intention is for this new energy. And if you don't have the clarity of what it is, just focus on the feeling that you'd like to have. Perhaps the feeling is of happiness or joy. Maybe it's about excitement and adventure. Maybe it's feelings of prosperity and abundance. Maybe it's about freedom. Just focus on that feeling, that energy, that picture in your mind of what your intention is, and let's empower that energy. Directing golden white light of empowered energy towards that new intention that you would like to give birth to. We call in those of the highest vibration of light, and we ask the archangels, ascended masters, and our ancestors of the light to assist in empowering all of your intentions in this new beginning, in this month of April. That starts out with the new moon in Aries. Let's take one deep, cleansing, balancing breath here. Energizing that intention. Exhaling. And when you're ready in your own time, you can open your eyes and come back. So let's go ahead and dive into this April, the energies of April, and see what the messages from our angels and guides are. Now, the setup of my video is going to be the same. We're going to start with the numerological energy vibration of the month of April. We're going to look at the astrological highlights. We're going to look at the message for the collective for everyone, and then special message cards depending on your stone of choice. Yes, that is not changing. We know you like your special message cards. So we should start out by showing you what the stones of choice are for this month of April. Okay, so this first stone is called a golden healer. And it is a beautiful golden yellow color, the color of the solar plexus chakra, your center of personal power, That's especially activated during this Aries season. Aries is a fire sign and it's full of passion. It's a cardinal sign, so it's full of initiation. I almost didn't say that right. Initiation energy. The golden healer is considered a master healer stone. It has one of the highest vibrations. It clears blockages and imbalances on all levels of the body and your energy field. It opens your consciousness to receive information and guidance from higher dimensions and to achieve your highest good. It can help reach down into the cellular level of your memory, the cellular memory, to release old behaviors, conditions, and patterns. And it activates your chakras to join your higher will with that of the divine. Okay, so that's the golden healer. Let's put that over here. And then we want to look at the second stone of choice, and this one is called lepidolite. So it's a beautiful purple colored stone. It's going to relate to, of course, the crown chakra. The lepidolite, it helps to release and reorganize old behavior and psychological patterns, gently inducing change. Deep emotional healing, it's called a stone of transition. Now, this one activates not only the crown chakra, but the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, and the heart chakra. So it's activating all of those upper chakras, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown, okay? Unconditional love, and this would be like self-worth. So unconditional love of self and others at the heart chakra, speaking your truth with love and compassion at the throat chakra, higher vision, higher wisdom, knowledge, receiving information from higher dimensional levels. This helps to clear blockages and bring cosmic awareness. And it facilitates astral travel and the connection to your Akashic records. Okay, let's put that one aside here. And then your last stone of choice. This one is called flower agate. Look at that, beautiful. It's kind of a peachy pink sort of stone, flower agate, also known as cherry blossom agate. I think I like that name better. I like cherries. Cherry blossom agate. And this one is associated with the heart chakra and the sacral chakra. So that sacral chakra is just below the belly button and deals with your creative self-expression and your passion and sexuality energy. And of course, heart chakra is unconditional love, healing. This relates to passion, manifestation. It can be used to dissolve blockages around abundance, love, and creativity. It initiates corrections in the energy body. Assistance with manifestation and abundance through clearing, realigning, and empowering. Oh, I love that word, right? Empowering the energy body. So it's a get stuff done stone, moving people into their proper place with the cycles of their core alignment, purpose, and destiny. Wow, these are all very powerful stones. So again, we've got the golden healer, we've got the lepidolite, and we've got the cherry blossom agate. Okay, so you can think about those as far as your special message card a little bit later. Let's start with talking about the vibration of the month of April. So April 2022, April is the fourth month of the year 2022, and the universal year number of 2022 is a 6, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Now, going back to just the universal year of 2022 being a 6, that's a very divine feminine number. The number 6, mothering, nurturing, counseling, aiding, listening, healing. It's a very divine feminine number. Now, if we take April as the 4th month and we add it to the number 6, that 6 universal year, what do you get? You get the number 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. So the number 10, if we reduce that in numerology by adding the 1 and the 0, it's a 1. So it is a month of new beginnings. So very interesting that it aligns with this new moon on April 1st. Again, we have the 1st, April 1st, the first day of the month. And we're in a 1 universal month, April, a 10, which equals a 1. So this is all about new beginnings and planting new seeds and initiating something new. And it's about reassessing your sense of self, because the number 1 deals with our sense of individuality. So it's about your self-confidence, it's about your courage, your self-identity, independence, standing on your own 2 feet. Who are you as an individual? What do you want? What are your needs as we move into, as we have moved into this Aries energy? So the number 10, if we thought about the 10th major arcana in the tarot, I know a lot of you are jumping up and down right now in your seats because you know that the 10th major arcana in the tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. In the Sirian Starseed Tarot, which is the deck we're going to use for our collective message here in a moment, it's known as the Great Wheel. So the Wheel of Fortune, the 10th major arcana, is the Great Wheel. So what is the Wheel of Fortune all about? It is about a positive new beginning. It's about a positive shift in fate, you could call it. A positive shift in the karmic wheel of fate. And this does look like a wheel. It's a wheel out in the universe, though, in the cosmos, right? And it's got this wonderful, interesting geometric pattern. And I didn't even realize, if you look at that geometric pattern, there's 6, not really points, but 6, for lack of a better way to say it, 6 points in this geometric shape. So isn't that interesting that we're in a 6 universal year, and this is a 1 universal month? This is the Great Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune, signifying a positive new beginning, a new start, a new birth to the energies in our lives and where we're going. And it's got this configuration there in the cosmos that has 6 kind of points. It's actually looks like 3 huge ovals intersecting one another. And I like the fact that there isn't a point, right? I mean, these ovals are very rounded, so it's gentle. It's more of a gentle energy than if it was a 6-pointed star. A point has more of a direct focus of energy, and this is more of this like divine, feminine, gentle, nurturing energy. This is ever flowing, right? If you go around and around and around, there's no stop, there's no beginning, there's no end. You're just going round and round these ovals, and they're all intersecting one another. Now, one thing that pops into my mind as I look at this figure, this configuration, and think about this never-ending, soft, feminine pattern, is that our lives could take a variety of different directions, right? With just a shift of our thought, a shift of our perspective, a shift of our belief, a shift in an action, taking a different action. It shifts the timeline, so to speak. It shifts what is going to unfold in our lives. So I feel like this is letting us know that there's many different possibilities here. I mean, all these ovals intersecting one another and kind of weaving this energy pattern is telling us that there's a lot of potential right now, a lot of potential and a lot of possibility. If you think about a new birth, there's a lot of potential in a new birth, right? You don't know what's going to ensue. You don't know what's going to unfold. It's sort of like a mystery. This could also be called the Great Mystery, right? But it's the Great Wheel. And it reminds me of a Native American kind of term, right? The Great Wheel, which is ever ever unfolding, ever spinning. A wheel is ever spinning, right? It goes round and round and round. We're in a cycle of existence. Our souls have reincarnated many times. We're in this cycle like the great wheel of giving birth to ourselves, maturing. We leave this physical body. Perhaps we leave this planetary system, but we're coming back. Our soul is infinite. So just as the wheel keeps on spinning and turning, our essence keeps going on, but maybe through a different physical body, or maybe in a different planetary system, perhaps. But the great wheel is really saying that right now there's a huge shift that's occurring in our lives and in the direction of our lives. So take advantage of it. The Wheel of Fortune is, to me, it's always positive. Even when there's challenging changes, there's positive shifts. If we look back in time, like, oh, that time period felt a little challenging because there was a lot of change, and I don't always do well with change, or I was comfortable in my comfort zone. But as I look back, I can really see why that happened, and I'm really glad it did, because now it brought me to where I am now. And I feel like this is one of those time periods. This month of April is one of those months that there can be a lot of great shifts, huge shifts. And maybe they occur in a gentle manner. I don't know. There's going to be a moon cycle coming up later on. Actually, it's at the end of this month. We'll talk about that momentarily. But at the end of the month, we have a moon cycle that might bring in something a little bit more sudden. But for right now, I feel like we're gradually and gently being maneuvered into this new beginning energy. So let's go ahead and talk about the astrological highlights of significance. So we start out with a new moon in Aries on April 1st, right? New moons are new beginnings, as I said. It's the birth of a new energy, and it's in the sign of Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, as I mentioned. So it's really a great time to metaphorically plant some new seeds, okay? If we skip over to the 5th of April, we have Venus, the planet of love and relationship, the planet of money and finances, personal resources, as well as our values and how we value ourselves. She's shifting into Pisces. So Pisces is about unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness. It's very spiritual. It's very artistic and creative and ever-flowing. And it's just a very beautiful energy. So I think Venus is going to be pretty happy here. Relationships and love take on maybe a fantasy-like quality, but a beautiful, unconditionally loving quality. We know we're all one. We know we're all connected. On the other hand, Pisces can be about illusion and confusion. So we might have a little bit of feeling of lack of boundaries, not feeling focused or grounded in our relationships. We're not sure what to do next. You might be feeling a little confused. Similar situation in money and finances. There might be a little confusion, or it might feel like money's slipping through your fingers like water, like the Pisces energy, which is water. Conversely, again, Pisces can bring magic and blessings and miracles. So there might be some of that going on with money and finances as well. Now, Venus might not have very good boundaries, as I mentioned, and her values might be a little confused since it rules values, but it's going to be important to focus on your, I want to say, unconditional love of self, because Pisces is unconditional love for others, but also for yourself. And Venus is about self-worth. So we have to find that sense of love within ourselves, compassion for ourselves. Now, Venus is going to be in Pisces from the 5th of April until May 2nd. So almost a month that she's in that beautiful, gentle energy that might bring some fantasy, illusion, and confusion. And then on the 10th of April, we have another planet changing signs. This time it's Mercury. Now, Mercury was in Aries along with the Sun. And again, Mercury is about our ideas, our thoughts, our perceptions, and our communications. So it was right along with the sun in that initiating, confident, new beginning sort of energy. Now it's going to shift into Taurus on April 10th, and it's going to be there until April 29th. So before the end of this month, it's going to make another sign shift, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But as it's in Taurus for the next few days, our thoughts become more practical, more grounded, our perceptions more thoughtful, our communications more thoughtful too. We might take our time to really think something through before we speak or before we make a decision. Okay, we're going to become a little bit more slower in that process of thinking something through, which is actually a pretty good thing. Mercury in Aries maybe was a little bit more knee-jerk reacting and making quick decisions, which sometimes can be okay. You know, something, opportunity comes up, you want to make a quick decision, but other times it's better to think things through, look at the pros and the cons, look at how it might kind of pan out, and just really be a little bit more thoughtful or cautious, if you will, about that thinking process. So again, from the 10th of April till the 29th, we have that influence. On the 12th of April, we have Jupiter coming together with Neptune. Now, astrologers have been talking about this for a little while. It's been creeping up closer and closer together. Neptune moves very, very slowly. It only moves a couple of degrees or so in a year. Jupiter is in the same sign as Neptune. They're both in Pisces right now. Jupiter is not the fastest moving planet either. It takes a year to move through a sign of the zodiac. So it's been in Pisces for a little while, but it's been getting ever closer to Neptune. And one interesting thing about this is that we say Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Well, Neptune, in fact, is the modern ruler of Pisces, but before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. So we also look at Jupiter as being the ruler of Sagittarius, but it's the ancient ruler of Pisces. So here we have two planets that both rule Pisces coming together in Pisces, and that's going to be really a huge spiritual opening, because Jupiter likes to expand whatever it touches. Jupiter is this planet of expansion, abundance, prosperity, and blessings. But really the whole idea of it is just that it expands whatever it touches. And that means it can expand us into chaos or expand us into negativity if that's where our mind is, just as well as it can expand us into unconditional love and compassion. Now, those are the energies of Pisces: unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, selfless service to humanity, creative vision, artistic and musical abilities, going with the flow, connecting with the spiritual realm, connecting with our angels and guides and those of the higher planes. So all of those things are expanding. In fact, if you're watching this video and you've felt since maybe mid-March or later March that your mind hasn't been quite as focused, or you haven't felt quite as grounded, or you forget what day it is or what time of the day it is, and all of a sudden the day has gone by, that can be the Jupiter-Neptune influence, because the universe, ruled by Pisces, or the spiritual realm ruled by Pisces, doesn't see third-dimensional time and space. It doesn't recognize that. You just kind of go into this euphoric, all is one, we're all a part of one another, and we're all a part of the cosmos sort of energy, which is a beautiful place to be. It's great for meditation, great for spiritual projects, and great for creative writing and things like that. But as far as focused, grounded, practical things, Jupiter and Neptune coming together in Pisces might cause us to be a little bit lacking in that, feeling like our feet are on the earth, that we're on the earth here. Now, what about the not so positive aspects of Pisces? Because Jupiter can expand that too. So illusion, confusion, delusion, addiction, escapism, fantasy, all of those things, sensitivity, energetic sensitivity, emotional sensitivity, and even sensitivity to foods or things that you ingest and put in your body, or chemicals. We can get very sensitive to energies right now too. So that's going to be, that's one of the highlights of this month. There's actually a few. There's a lot of things, there's quite a bit going on in April. On the 14th of April, we have Mars moving into Pisces. Okay, so on the 5th, we have Venus, the divine feminine, moving into Pisces. Now on the 14th, we have Mars, the divine masculine, moving into Pisces. Venus and Mars are known as the lovers. And although they're now starting to pull apart as far as how close they are by degree, they're now still going to be traveling through the same sign of the zodiac, Pisces. Unconditional love, compassion, romance. I mean, Pisces rules romance and fantasy. So now we have the lovers, Venus and Mars, as of the 14th, in Pisces. Now, Mars in Pisces by itself is not the best placement. It's not as good for Mars to be there as it is for Venus to be there, because Mars is our physical energy, action, and forward movement. And in Pisces, it kind of loses its way. It needs to adopt a more of a go with the flow sort of attitude, because it's not going to be a direct line from A to Z. It's going to take a little bit more time. We might feel like we're slowed down or usurped in energy. Our physical energy and vitality is not quite as strong as when it was in the previous sign or when it's in other signs. Mars is the warrior. Pisces is a sign that rules the spiritual realm. So I like to call Mars and Pisces the spiritual warrior. Okay, so you're wanting to go after what it is you want to go after, or fight the good fight, but now you're being the spiritual warrior. It's not so much the third dimensional warrior where it's like assert and dominate and conquer. It's not any of that. It's more like, okay, let's put our energy towards this and then we'll see what happens. Let's initiate something and then let's trust and have faith that if it's meant to be and right, it will unfold and manifest. That's the kind of energy that Mars in Pisces is going to have as far as being the spiritual warrior. And it's going to be in Pisces until May 24th. So we have over a month to feel out that Mars in Pisces energy. So far I'm finding it interesting that we started out the month with Aries and Mercury, the Sun and Mercury in Aries. The Sun and Mercury in Aries, Aries season, right? When the Sun goes into Aries season, new beginnings. But now we just have Venus and Mars moving into Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, which is more about completion energies. So I still feel like there's this mingling, this intermingling of initiating something new, but yet still clearing out or healing the old and the old circumstances and the old situations and old patterns within ourselves. So there's still some of that happening here. On the 16th, we have a full moon in Libra, meaning the sun is in Aries, but the moon is in the opposite sign of Libra, the sign of partnerships, relationships. And as a full moon grows in its intensity, it does become more emotionally reactive and intense in the sign that it's in. In this case, again, relationships, partnerships. Is there equality and balance and harmony and compromise? Is everything in a state of fairness and justness within partnerships, relationships in your life? Are things balanced? So that full moon is going to bring things up to the forefront in our relationships a little bit. And people might be a little bit more reactive, especially because this full moon is at 26 degrees of Libra, and Pluto at this time is at 28 degrees of Capricorn, which is a sign that challenges Libra. So this full moon is going to be challenging or squaring Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of power and death and rebirth and transformation and change and big, deep changes happening, sometimes on a psychological level, and sometimes it can be in circumstances and situations around us. So again, watch for relationship dynamics to transform during this full moon and thereafter as the moon starts to wane cycle. On the 19th, the sun moves into Taurus. So this is the time of year in April, the time of the month in April, where the sun transitions from Aries into Taurus. So now we're moving into the more practical, grounded, growth-oriented Taurus energy. Okay, of course, the sun is going to be there for about the next month. The next thing of significance is on the 29th, and this is when Pluto turns to retrograde motion at 28 degrees of Capricorn. Now, Pluto, like Neptune, moves very, very slowly, a couple of degrees or so a year. So it's been at that 26, 27, 28 degree kind of point or thereabouts of Capricorn for a little while. Now, when one of those slower moving planets like Pluto goes retrograde, we really feel the intensity and magnification of its energies at that point, or about, I'd say about a week, maybe up to 2 weeks, depending on how sensitive you are, before the shift occurs. So let's say about mid-April until the 29th, when Pluto does officially turn retrograde, we're going to feel Plutonian energies start to rise. And again, what's Pluto about? Power and control, transformation and change, death and rebirth. It's essentially about us owning our power, or stepping into our power, or reclaiming our power, versus disempowering circumstances, situations, and relationships where people are trying to take our power or overpower us. And Pluto rules the depth of our psyche. It rules subconscious patterns, what lies hidden beneath the surface. So it's going to be dredging up things, not just on a personal level, but look on a collective level as well, at what things that have been hidden from the collective are starting to be dredged up. Pluto's like a volcano, right? Deep in the volcano, there's things bubbling and gurgling, and you don't really see or know what's going on inside the volcano until the volcano erupts, until that powerful energy erupts. And then you see it with full force. And that's what Pluto is. It's potent force once it's activated. So Pluto going retrograde may activate some of this potent force of transformation, powerful death and rebirth energies. On the same day that Pluto turns retrograde, we have Mercury making another sign change into Gemini. Now, Mercury again rules the mental realm. Gemini is one of his home signs. It's one of his ruling signs. Mercury rules Gemini, so he's going to feel very much at home here in Gemini. Now, interestingly enough, this isn't going to happen until May. Did I write it down? I don't know that I did, but early on in May, Mercury goes into another retrograde cycle. So by the time it moves into Gemini on the 29th of April, it's already been in its shadow for a few degrees. It went into its shadow at 26 degrees of Taurus. And then I think it's right after the first week of May, it turns retrograde in the early degrees of Gemini and retrogrades back to the beginning of Gemini and then jumps back into Taurus for a little bit of time. So know that again, as Mercury is already in its shadow, somewhere probably around the time that the sun moves into Taurus on the 19th, you're already going to start to see some Mercury retrograde happening, some miscommunication, misinformation, needing to rework something, reevaluate something. So that falls right into that time period of the full moon in Libra, squaring Pluto, and then Pluto turning to retrograde motion. And then the 30th of April, this is the very last day of April. On the 30th of April, we have another new moon. So we began the month of April with a new moon in Aries. We end the month of April with a new moon in Taurus, but it's not just any old new moon. It is an eclipse. So we're starting to enter eclipse season. New moon solar eclipse at 10 degrees Taurus on April 30th. Now, new moons, of course, we said are new beginnings. Eclipses magnify and intensify the energy of the lunation. So it's magnifying these new beginnings. Just as 2 weeks from the 30th of April, so mid-May, we're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse. So we'll talk about that next month. But even this new moon is going to be a powerful one, because the new moon at 10 degrees of Taurus is connecting with Uranus, the great awakener, at 14 degrees of Taurus. And Uranus is about quick, sudden, unexpected shifts, energies, redirections, circumstances unfolding. It's usually some sort of surprise energy with Uranus. And if this is an eclipse, a new moon eclipse at 10 degrees Taurus, connecting with Uranus, there's sure to be some significant redirections in our lives. What I think is that the new moon in Aries at the beginning of the month was planting some seeds, initiating some new beginning, because it's the first sign of the zodiac. We were planting the seeds, but I feel like we might not see the manifestation of those new seeds planted until after this new moon solar eclipse in Taurus at the end of the month, because Taurus is an earth sign, okay? When you plant the seed, and we're talking now about Taurus, this is where something can really manifest and really happen on third dimensional real-time level. So it might not all happen at once on the 30th of April, but it's definitely activating some shifts and changes and redirections throughout the next month or so because of that full moon lunar eclipse that's coming up mid-May. So that's a little bit about what's happening astrologically. There was quite a bit there. And we should go ahead now, before we get too late into this video. Let's show you what the message for the collective is for this month of April. So in my meditation, I asked and shuffled, and 3 cards flew out as normally does. And let's look at the first card here. So the first card, not surprising that we see the Ace of Flames, the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Rods. Aces are about new beginnings. And Aries is a fire sign. So again, it's not surprising to see the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Flames starting out this reading. This is initiating a new beginning on a spiritual level. The Suit of Flames is about the spiritual level. Okay? So new creativity, new inspiration, new thoughts, new intentions, shining its light, lighting the way towards the next step on our path, towards our future. So couldn't really say much more about this, right? Aces are full of energy and vitality and get up and go and let's take charge and let's be a leader. If you were holding that flame, right? If you were holding that, it'd be like, da, 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 let's get moving, let's move forward, let's light the way to the next step, and let's do it in a very inspirational, energetic, enthusiastic, adventurous way, okay? Let's see what comes out after this. Let's see what the next card is. Okay, we have the Sage of Flames. So this is like the queen. The sage in this deck is the queen in the traditional tarot. Again, the flames is fire, wands, or rods. So we have the Queen of Wands here, followed by the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is initiating a new beginning. The Queen of Wands is the divine feminine, owning her power, the divine feminine in her independence, in her leadership capacity. So this is probably a particular goddess that I don't know, but if you look at this, it almost has this feeling of a Shakti sort of energy, right? Kundalini kind of rising sort of energy. You know, we've got her in a yoga pose, and she's got flames in her hand. So here again, we've got flames, the Queen of Flames, the Queen of Fire. We've got the Kundalini activation here at the base of the spine and starting to move up like the snake up through her chakras. We've got this wonderful, I'm going to call it a flame of energy, even though it's more like sparkly light, sparkly creative energy here, opening up her crown chakra. So this is you, whether you're male or female. This is the divine feminine and Kundalini rising and activation happening within you. Activating your adventure, activating your independence, activating your initiation energies into the new, right? The Queen just does it in a little bit, I don't know if I want to use the word softer. Like we have the King of Wands and then we have the Queen of Wands. The King is definitely masculine, take charge, like Mars the warrior being in his home sign of Aries. The Queen of Wands is going to be more like, again, like that spiritual warrior, like Mars in Pisces as it's going into Pisces this month of April. So it's still a warrior energy, but it does it in a little bit more gentle, soft, spiritual, loving, compassionate sort of way. So this divine feminine is still strong, but she's got that gentle spiritual energy to back her up as well. And look at that. I mean, we had the great wheel or the wheel of fortune that rules this month of April. And this almost looks like a wheel of fortune here too. She's sitting within this wheel of fate or this wheel of fortune, the great wheel, getting ready to allow the shift of fate to happen in her life. But she's going to be in charge of it. She's initiating it. She's directing it. So be the director and the initiator right now. And then let's look at the last card here. The last card, oh my gosh, more divine feminine energy with the higher self. This is the Priestess card in the traditional tarot. This is Major Arcana number 2. 2022, 2, and Major Arcana 2, right? And 2 is a very divine feminine energy, balance, equality, compromise. And she's balanced within her higher self, which is why they call this the higher self card in this deck. So the Priestess is balanced within her spiritual self, balanced within her divine self. She's very calm here, right? I mean, sometimes you might envision a priestess, or even in other decks of the tarot, you might see her in a more powerful position, or maybe holding a staff or a wand or a crystal or something like that. In this rendition, she's holding the Book of Life. Well, what's the Book of Life? It's your Akashic records. The Book of Life, it's that book that states all of the energies, gifts, talents, abilities, karmic challenges, difficulties, situations, circumstances that each soul has lived in all lifetimes, including the present, including the potential future. So here the Priestess is holding your Akashic records, and she's asking you to get in touch with your higher soul self. As you get in touch with your higher soul self, which is that Piscean energy, that Venus moving into Pisces, Mars even moving into Pisces this month, you're going to be able to connect more easily to the cosmos, to the universe, to your angels and guides, to your own divinity, to your higher self, to your Akashic records, to be able to understand, become aware of, heal them, rewrite them, right? You could be in this present day living your Akashic records, and you can rewrite how the story unfolds from here, right? Such as being in family patterns generation after generation, and people that say, oh, that's in my ancestry, or that's been passed down for generations. And some of that stuff is not always positive, right? Some of those things are, let's say, abuse of the divine feminine's power, right? Abuse of the divine feminine power, the divine feminine being disempowered for generations. Well, that can be rewritten. That doesn't have to be part of the future, So let's rewrite the Akashic Records so that it unfolds in the present/future in a different way. And look at, she's got this big kind of full moon here in the background. So this is either maybe signifying something important around the time of the full moon in Libra this month, or maybe this is projecting us to the full moon lunar eclipse that we're going to have in the middle of May. So either or. This is a great time to get connected to your higher spiritual self and the wisdom of your inner guide and the wisdom of your own Akashic Records. Okay? So that's a beautiful and powerful reading. Let's take a look at the special message depending on your stone of choice. Again, we've got that golden healer. We've got the lepidolite. And we've got the cherry blossom agate. So make your choice there. Let's go ahead and take the deck. This is, oh, and I don't think I talked about the decks, right? Well, the deck we used for the collective message was the Sirian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha. The special message card this month is coming from the Lantern Oracle by Angelina Mirabito. That's what the book looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and shuffle the deck. And the first stone of choice was the Golden Healer. So let's take a deep breath together. Golden Healer people, special message for the month of April for the Golden Healer people. So occasionally, as you know, I open my eyes to see if something jumps out at me. So I need to kind of just silence myself for a minute. Special message for Golden Healer. I open my eyes. This one's kind of showing itself. Enough. We're going to have to read that one. I don't think I've ever pulled this card from this deck. Enough. So it's number 20. It says enough, and it says, you were born enough. I love it. You were born enough. So as we move into Taurus energy, Taurus rules our sense of self-worth and self-value, how we value ourselves. And this is a message for you all that you are good enough, you're perfect enough, you're smart enough, you're creative enough, you're independent enough, you're, everything. You are enough just the way you are. There's nothing about you that's wrong or less than. There's nothing about you that is less than anybody else, that's for sure. Your gifts, talents, and abilities are unique. They're unique to you. Somebody else might be better at something else, but you're better at something that they're not, because we're all individuals, right? I remember not too long ago, I won't mention the spiritual teacher, but he was comparing himself. I mean, this is a very well-known spiritual teacher all over the world. And he was comparing himself to other people. Like, I don't do that as well as that person does. And, of course, he had to come into realization that what he does do, that he's very good at, and that he is enough. And just because somebody else did something else better than him doesn't mean that he's any less than, that he shouldn't compare himself. He talked about playing the comparing game, or the comparative game. Don't compare yourself to other people and what they can do or who they are. Okay? It doesn't matter what their gifts are. It doesn't matter what audience they're reaching or how much money they're making. Okay? Don't compare yourself, because you are enough. You are who you are, and that is beautiful. And this person has angel wings. Look at that, spreading out the angel wings and wearing this red activation color, right? Oh, I'm wearing red too. So red is energy, passion, it's an activation sort of color. It's sort of like Mars energy. So this person with angel wings is wearing this activation color, also wearing some turquoise though too. Turquoise throat chakra. So this might be meaning that you need to speak your truth to somebody, that you are enough, you're good enough. You're You're going to set better boundaries. You're not going to allow people to maybe talk to you in a certain way or treat you a certain way. You might wonder, why am I attracting these situations over and over again? Well, until you stand in your truth and set your boundaries and speak your truth lovingly and kindly, but yet firmly and sternly to whoever these people are, you're going to continue to get the same kind of energy, because part of, if you want to call it a lesson, part of the quote unquote lesson is for you to speak your truth, stand in your power, activate your energy, spread your angel wings, and know that you are enough, just the way you are. Use your gifts, your talents, your abilities in the way that you are guided to on this planet, and don't compare yourself to anybody else anymore. So we're going to put that back in the deck just in case somebody else gets it. Let's see what the message is for the Lepidolite people. Lepidolite, special message for the month of April for Lepidolite people. This one's calling my attention, sticking up. Okay, it's number 34, circles. Okay, and it's got a picture of a horse, and one person's riding the horse and 3 people are standing around the person that's on the horse. And the message at the bottom says, clarity begins in the eye of the storm. Clarity begins in the eye of the storm, and it's called circles. It's interesting because we've got the great wheel that looks like a circle. We talked about the never-ending circle, the never-ending circle of energy. So the message again of clarity begins in the eye of the storm. So this is, sometimes we get entrenched in a pattern, way of believing or perceiving something, maybe even a circumstance or situation, and we get entrenched in that, and it just becomes comfortable, and it starts to feel like, oh, this is the norm of life. Well, sometimes we're lacking clarity when we're in those situations, when we become entrenched in the sameness of either the pattern or the way of seeing or the way of living life in a certain way. Clarity, it says, begins in the eye of the storm. So usually when we have eclipses, new moon, solar eclipses, full moon, lunar eclipses, it's about a metaphoric storm that's coming, some changes that are about to happen, because again, eclipses shift and redirect. They realign your life with your truth. And if you're not living your truth, if you're not aligned with your truth, and you're kind of off course, but you're just living entrenched in this sameness and in this pattern, it's becoming comfortable or normal, quote unquote, all of a sudden the eye of the storm comes along, and then clarity begins. Like something gets shaken up, shaken loose, redirected. Something shifts in your reality that brings great changes. And all of a sudden things start to become a little bit more clear. Like, okay, I'm not living my truth. I'm not aligned with the truth of who I am. I'm not doing what I want to do, or I'm stuck in a job or career that I don't like, or I'm in a relationship that's not treating me the way that I would like to be treated, or I'm not living my life in the way that I would want to experience life. It's just becoming the hamster wheel. So we need to shake up the hamster wheel, okay? We don't want to go in circles. We don't want to be on that hamster wheel going in circles, just living day in and day out, wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, deal with the kids and our spouse and go to bed and start all over again. So that's not what life is all about or supposed to be about. We're supposed to be living our gifts. We're supposed to be feeling our passion, right? And we can still do that with our family and loved ones, potentially. We can still do that by staying maybe in the same job, unless it's really not aligned with our truth. So don't think you have to chuck everything. But This is saying that something's going to come and shake something up, and it's going to like knock you out of this circular pattern that you might be in. And then clarity will start to emerge in the eye of the storm. Okay. All right, let's put that card back. And then for those of you that chose the Cherry Blossom Agate, okay, let's give this a little shuffle. Ask for the message for April for Cherry Blossom Agate. Is that right? I'm going to call it Cherry Blossom Agate. Okay, this one's standing up, moving forward. Cherry Blossom Agate people moving forward. Number 28, which, by the way, 2 + 8 is 10, which equals that Wheel of Fortune, the Great Wheel, turning. Okay. And it says, let me put this other card down here. Moving forward says, the first step, yes, I'm having trouble seeing it. You can all laugh at me. Okay, let's focus. The first step is taken within our stillness. Okay. The first step is taken, I'm laughing at myself. The first step, and some of you are saying, why doesn't she just wear glasses? The first step is taken within our stillness, moving forward. Okay, so the first flash of insight that I get, I mean, we have a sun here. We have a new moon at the beginning of the month. The new moon in Aries at the beginning of the month. And then we move to the new moon in Taurus, the solar eclipse new moon, at the end of the month. It feels like within this month's time between new moons, we're standing still, so to speak. I'm not saying you're not taking any action or whatnot, but it feels like you're just waiting in stillness for the answer to become clear. You're getting ready to move forward. You will move forward. It will happen very soon. But the first steps is taken within your stillness. So in other words, the first steps are taken kind of within your own mind, within yourself. It's almost like your mind is planting the seeds. Your mind is planting the intentions. Your mind is coming up with a strategy. So on the outside, it appears that you're not doing anything. On the outside, to everyone else, it appears that you're not moving forward. But you know that you are, because on the inside, again, you're making the strategy, you're making the plan, you're planting the seeds, you're kind of going through what decisions you have to make in order to move forward. And you're going to be moving forward very, very soon. I'm going to say by the time we have that solar eclipse at the end of the month and we're moving into May and then we have a lunar eclipse, you're going to be moving forward within, a month or so's time, most likely. The sun is rising over the horizon, right? So it's just breaking the light of day right now. Things are becoming clear for you right now. We've even got this shadow. Now, some people might say maybe that's an eagle. Maybe some people would say that that's a vulture. Either way, it's symbology of new ideas, right? Birds are messengers. Birds are new ideas, new thoughts, new perceptions, new messages from spirit coming in. The eagle would be about higher vision about what you need to do before you move forward. So what you need to do in the stillness of right now before you're able to move forward. That's the higher vision that you have to have. If this shadow is of the vulture energy is sort of like the Tower card energy, where something's going to come real suddenly and significantly into your life and shift your life. And once that shift starts to happen, once that, sometimes it's referred to as the rug getting pulled out from under you, once that starts to occur, You start to feel that shift starting to take place, like, okay, now is the time. It's almost like in the stillness and the silence within yourself, you're just waiting for the right moment to move forward. You know you're going to move forward. You've got the idea now and the plan and the strategy about how you're going to move forward. Now you're just waiting for the divine timing to come in and say, now's the time to move forward. That's what I feel like this card is all about. And you're walking towards the sunrise. You're walking towards that new beginning. You're walking towards the light of illumination, of a new day and a new dawn. Okay? So this is a really, they're all great messages. All three of these are great messages for this month of April. I hope you have enjoyed this video for the month of April. I send you all lots of love and light. Thank you so much for your support and for your messages and for following me. And I hope you follow me into my new beginnings with the new intentions I have for my website, Colleen Lemma. And changing things over might take a little bit of time as far as all the social media and this, that, and the other thing. But whether you use Sacred Soul Empowerment or whether you use Colleen Lemma, you're still going to find me and you'll still find my website. I just hope you all support me in this bold new initiating move in the time of Aries of switching over to just using my name. So sending you lots of love and light, everyone. Many, many angel blessings.